Okay. Wow. So I think we all have that beloved Kanye album. If it's graduation, if it's a little older, it's college dropout. But for me, yeah, but for me, it's that late registration. Um, while we do hear like on college dropout, it is definitely his it's definitely Jesus Walks, and on graduation, it's definitely like Big Brother, Good Life, with featuring T Pain. I think these are more private songs for me because I do like these songs on this album more than not disrespecting the Kanye album that people like Dark Twisted Fantasy. No matter what you like, I just think me personally, I think this has a has a Life of Pablo appeal to this album. Like I know Life of Pablo is technically a mixtape, but I think so. So we're gonna focus a little on registration. We are introduced. I think we are introduced into a Kanye that we weren't really introduced to in College Dropout because this thing was College Dropout. So late registration. It's like, yo, visiting hours. You know, he talks a lot of deep stuff in here, and the skits I think are funny. I think these are like skits that were meant to be funny, but they're there. And that's a sorority. He was a sorority, but we wake up with that. We wake up with that 2005 Kanye. Hey, Mr. West. You know, and Mr. West introduction. Hello, Mr. West. Wake up, Mr. West. And it feels like that type of feeling. It's like, oh, I'm just listening to the new album. Okay, this is gonna wake me up. This is gonna set the tone. It sets the tone. It says, "Wake up, Mr. West, Mr. West," and I think it's a clever way to start an album. We don't really hear it as much. Like, hey, Mr. West. Nah, I think that's sketchy. Um, However, this album isn't critically acclaimed. I got a dropout in graduation. I think this album does get overlooked a little bit. But so late registration has a slew of songs depending on what your taste is. So Kanye has roughly a long list of songs, and I think on here it's more, hey, well, we have this. Let's work on this. Let's do this. Let's work on this. So if you are a Nas fan, like I am, and hip hop is that kind of thing, you have Nas on this track list. You also have Brandy. You also have Kanye West being Kanye West, Cameron, Common. But I don't think people knew Common could rap. But Common has an album recently. He released an album recently, Ball Wall, and Adam Levine. I think with Adam Levine on this, I think it's just like, hey, because I think this was the start of. And if you put Adam Levine on any feature, that song is gonna sell. I think that's just the album. The song's gonna sell because Adam Levine's on it. Because the next song we hear, second song on late registration is "Hear Him Say," but Adam Levine, and he's like, I heard him say, and he just goes into like almost like the blasted text, black African American statistics or stereotypes that he's like, you know. And I feel like that song is deep down in a lot of people's heart. Now I know that's not like Touch the Sky. Touch the Sky to me, I think yeah, that's gonna sound a little cliche, but Touch the Sky to me is more of a, hey, we're here. Now I don't know Luke, but he says, hey, I'm just trying to look like you hear him say like you hear a lot of lines from him. I think the Kanye lines. I don't know if it's auto tune that he goes la la, and it's funny because it's like it's a Kanye thing. It's like la la, and I like it the way he does it. Um, However, you hear words like guess the rock, nervous breakdown, and he thought he could get with me along. I've heard these references before in a J. Cole. I heard this later in J. Cole's 2014 Forest Hill Drive, but he says he thought he could get with me along. I don't know necessarily a lot about her, but it seems that the circle of Hollywood and music industry love Nia Long. Not disrespecting Nia Long or anybody that feels that way about her. And he just felt like he was I don't know if this is a little older, but Bad I don't know if people know a lot about Bad Boys, the company, not the Bad Boy like the record label, not necessarily Bad Boy the movies featuring Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. And he says, I feel like Bad Boy Street Team, and I think that's what he meant. Like, hey, I can do this, do it this way, and I can do it this way, and people will feel it, which I do think is a little bit true. But late registration isn't short of features, and that's the thing I think I like. Personally, I do like albums that don't have a lot of features, but I think this is the album that I do. So we get into, after we get into Touch the Sky, we get into Gold Digger. Now Gold Digger was a main hit because I ain't messing with no gold digger, cause she and it's just, I think it's just, hey, how you live your life. Is it, hey, do you got a lot of money to spend? Are you cool with that? You ain't gotta worry about money? Cool. So she ain't gotta worry about asking you, hey, she getting too deep into your pockets. I can understand it from both sides. I can understand it from both sides. That's basically what that song is about. Hey, I got a lot of money. It's like a flex that she can't spend it, or Now I think okay. So we get into the broke fraternity. I want to say it's a fraternity. But however, I do want to say be careful when you join fraternities. This stuff has happened recently in the news. With a lot of one fraternity nearby me. One that's nearby me has a lot to happen. People losing their life in fraternities. I'm just saying, if you're gonna join one, a sorority or fraternity, please be careful, and be responsible. However, I think it's like, yo, we only have one pair of jeans. If I'm the only one wearing jeans, if I'm outside, I'm the only one wearing jeans. I think it's like, bro, basically saying, hey, we do this, and it's, and I do like these skits. Like I say, I do like these skits, but I think they're funny. He's like, if I'm the only one outside, I'm the only one outside wearing jeans. It's like, saying college students don't get paid enough, which I think is reassuring that he mentioned it. I don't know how other people feel about it, but I find that funny. Drive Slow is definitely a song you play when you're just listening to something on a track. It's definitely fun to listen to. My Way Home, the same way. Crack Music, I think so. You have to. It's not a bad song. I just don't think I've ever enjoyed the song the way it's supposed to be intended. Roses. Okay, I've got to mention on My Way Home. I do like the Common verse. I do like the Kanye verse. It matches perfectly. The Game and Crack Music. I like the Kanye verses a little bit better. And then we get into a deep song. I think we get into these deep songs of a playlist. We get into Roses. And granted, Kanye has lost a lot of people. Recently he lost his mother too. But he talks about his grandmother in a song. It's like how when famous people, almost like famous people get special treatment or wherever they go. And he was just like, hey, I can't ever turn this fame off. So if I'm in a hospital or somewhere that I need to be serious about it, I can't ever be serious because people are always gonna ask for something. Like he's like in the song he says, I always ask them for t-shirts, and I just feel like, hey, celebrities do get special treatment, but he's saying if I don't come from celebrity, they don't really care. They're not gonna give her special treatment. Bring Me That Down featuring Brandy. That is perfect. That song is perfect. I wouldn't mess with that song. That song is perfect. That song is Guarded by Me. That and Roses is Guarded by Me. Addiction. One of my favorite songs on the album. Skit 2. Now, Skit 2, I think, is a little different. Like, Skit 2 is saying, hey, we're on a college income, and he's saying, hey, no, We spend no money. We ain't got nothing. We ain't got no hoes. Basically, that's all he's saying. And it's a clever way to do it, but I think it's also like, hey, if this is marketing toward college students, this is how we do it. This is how we say it. And this is kind of, now, it's not directed at college students, but I do think when he says that, that he thinks people follow money. And that's partially true. So I understand the skit. Saying, yeah, people follow money, but I also understand Skits saying, hey, as this, and this. Makes sense. Okay, wow. So, we have the Skit too. And I think it's crazy because We Major by Nas and Real Dope. I think that is a good song. It's not, like, crazy, but it's good. Now, we going down his list, and he says, we hear him say "gone." When he talks about "Hey Mama," but I think that is where he kind of loses me, because in the Nas he says, "I want," and as there when he says "we major," we're nothing, we're turning nothing into something that fell, and I think that's great. It's like Hova Ice, and that's a. Well, I think Ilmac is Nas's best album. That says we're major. Yeah, hoping, and just talking about how when he talks in his later album, Yay, he brings about on the song "Violent Crimes." He brings up his daughters and stuff, and hoping they still do karate, and hoping they grow more like him. Nas says we're major. On Gone, there's a lot of back and forward. Where Kanye stabs away at lines which are almost weird, thinking that the collab album between Kanye Jay-Z in Paris, I think that is funny because he says one beat on Hove, and I don't know if that's the direct line, if he's saying that or if he's taking shots. Then we got Addiction. He says, you make me smile with my heart. Is the money weed or women? It's a W, so I guess it's a W, right? And then we have Late, which I think is the last one on the album, and we hear, yeah, I'll be late for that. I'll wait for that. I'll come in when I want, only if it feels right. I guess he means the studio. I missed by a few points. Student loans on a Benz. How people spend student loans on a Benz. I'm crying, baby. She's gonna start a fight, and I think that's. And they say how African Americans saying that how they act unprofessional, which isn't true, but some people. And then he says 5 hours later, which I think overall this album that he put together, I think, considering that the year that's in, I think it does have better replay value. So, honestly, with College Dropout, I love College Dropout. I'm probably a more fan of a College Dropout album than his recent stuff and his later stuff. So, College Dropout for me is prime Kanye, so I'm gonna give that a 10 out of 10. Seriously, hope y'all guys enjoyed this episode as much as I did. While I'm wrapping everything up, Forbes corrected itself and said it was wishful thinking, that if everything with everything that Kanye has starting up, if everything went right, that's how much he'd be worth, 6.6. And I think that's the best way to wrap this episode up, with Ye being, with the Forbes listing and Ye going at it recently in past years. I think this is the best way to end it. However, I know I probably ranted on about these songs. They're very short songs, but I do love these songs. I love these skits extremely much. They remind me of like a Dave Chappelle, Eddie Murphy, or Bernie Mac skit. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this episode as much as I did, because I really did enjoy making this episode. Listening back to an album that I always have on repeat, but I never really critique. I really have no critiques. But there is people saying that, we find out now that Kanye's Quinn is questionable, but I still think to this day, even with the features, it's great. I love the Brandy feature, Adam Levine feature. Adam Levine can't do anything wrong. If you've been listening to his features lately, can't do anything wrong. Common had an album that was recently dropped in 2020. Go listen to that. Nas dropped King's Disease 2020. Drop that. Listen to that. Cameron, I don't think he does it, but he does have a lot of interviews out, so I'd say go listen to that. Real Doe, haven't heard anything from him. Adam Levine was on Lil Wayne's funeral album. Trust Nobody. Adam Levine is on there. The Game, he came out with his own documentary album, which Bryson Tiller is on. If you haven't heard Bryson Tiller, I definitely go listen to that. Brandy had a B7 project. If you're not really a Brandy fan, I'd say go listen to No Tomorrow and then work your way back into it. But overall, I did like these albums. Consequence, I don't listen to it a lot, but I would definitely say if you want to listen to an album, definitely say we listen to this album. And Jamie Foxx is a comedian, that's a songwriter and singer. I definitely go watch some of his comedy sketches. If you want to see him, you can always find a TV show with Jamie Foxx in it. It's not rare, but it's close. There are performances of him playing the piano. Go listen to those. Honestly, overall, I liked how this album was made, and I liked everybody that was a part of this album. So, honestly, I would definitely say go listen to this album if you haven't already, because this album came out in 2005, and it's still relevant today.